The story begins on a stormy night, when Carrie Ann, a young girl with indications of mental instability, visits her parents' chamber. The ruckus awakens her mother, who, upon investigating, is subjected to a savage attack, receiving many hits from a hammer. Carrie Ann murders her father, Jacobson, who is aroused by the sounds, before fleeing the house and never returning. The scenario shifts 4 years later, when a new family, the Sarahs, moves to the Woodshire area. Their home is next to the iconic Jacobson mansion, which has dramatically lowered local property values, allowing Sarah and her daughter to find cheap housing. Elissa, driven by curiosity, sets out to examine the abandoned home one evening, but is put off by frightening sounds from the neighboring forest. During a family dinner, it is revealed that despite Sarah's separation from her husband, Elissa continues to long for her missing father. Later that night, Sarah is awakened by strange noises coming from outside, only to learn that the Jacobson house is not completely empty. The next day, when chatting with their neighbors, Sarah and Elissa discover that Jacobson's son, Ryan, continues to live in the house, leading a secluded existence. Elissa meets Tyler, a teenage lad who attends the same school and is active in famine relief activities. The community attempted to purchase Jacobson's home because of the negative influence on real estate values, but Ryan, the only surviving son, refused to sell. Despite the tragic circumstances, Ryan remained uninjured and stayed with his aunt during the disaster. For years, rumors circulated about Ryan's sister, Carrie Ann, who was supposed to have drowned in the dam and whose body had yet to be located. Tyler revealed that some people claimed to have seen Carrie Ann in the woods, while others disregarded the stories as baseless. When Elissa returned home, she was again startled by noises and a dark figure in the woods. Tyler invited Elissa to a hunger group party the next day at Woodshire High School, but she rejected due to prior commitments with her mother. However, after learning about her mother's late-night duty, Elissa reconsidered and decided to accompany Tyler. Tyler's constant pestering at the party caused Elissa to leave unexpectedly. The impending storm had darkened the single road, and Elissa sought to reach her mother but received no answer. She was approached by a car driver who identified himself as Ryan, who offered to give her a ride. Elissa was nervous, but she declined, saying she would rather wait for her mother. Still, she had to take Ryan up on his offer because it was about to storm. Elissa asked Ryan if he was still living in the home where his parents were killed while they were traveling. Ryan disclosed that the mansion was the only thing that connected him to his family after his father had sent him away when he was 7 years old. He stated that he planned to move to a new place, sell the house, and renovate it. Elissa's mother chastised her for taking a ride from Ryan without telling her when they got home, which made Elissa angry and indifferent to her mother's worries. Ryan, in the meantime, finished cooking a single person's dinner and carried it downstairs. Ryan then unsealed a hidden entrance in the floor and descended into a hidden room that held his secrets. But as soon as he stepped inside the terminal area, a young woman who looked a lot like Carrie Ann attacked him. In response, Ryan gave her another dose of sedative, knocking her out cold. Ryan, puzzled by her constant attempts to get away from him in spite of his careful attention, begged her not to bother their new neighbor. He went out of the room and left the key where he usually left it, atop the doorframe. Tyler verbally insulted Elissa after she encountered him at school the next day and tried to avoid him. She met up with Jillian again, another guest at the party, and then Jillian's brother and his friend. They gave Elissa a spot in their band for the next tournament after realizing how good she was at singing. As this was going on, Elissa's mother Sarah was speaking with Bill, a policeman, about her recent move and her worries for Ryan. Bill, in contrast to popular belief, felt sorry for Ryan. He acknowledged that he lived alone and that he had never had any problems with him. Bill's point of view gave Sarah comfort and she recognized her fears were unjustified. Making her first visit to Ryan's place, Elissa gave him a CD of her songs. While exploring, she came into a sizable food cache in an abandoned fallout shelter and a walkie-talkie bearing Carrie's drawing. Even with these fascinating finds, she kept her attention on inspecting Ryan's house, stopping when she came across a family photo and was drawn in by Carrie Ann's vivid blue eyes. Elissa entered Carrie's old room and saw how juvenile it seemed compared to Carrie Ann's purported age of 13. Ryan then disclosed that Carrie had reached an unsafe height before to her untimely death during a lighthearted swinging event. Ryan desperately screamed for his parents to help, but they were seen doing drugs in silence. Carrie Ann suffered from brain damage as a result of the terrible experience, which changed her upon awakening. She behaved aggressively, hitting her relatives and smashing things. When Elissa got home and told her mother about her visit to Ryan's residence, Sarah became concerned and advised Elissa to give up on trying to help the disturbed youngster. Ryan went to Carrie Ann's room to see how she was doing after Elissa left, but he unintentionally left the door open. As a result, when Carrie Ann came to, she was able to go past Ryan's security and try to get away. Ryan followed her outside, but it seemed like Carrie was going to Elissa's house. Elissa was startled when the door rattled abruptly and Jillian appeared from behind. They went inside the home and saw Ryan standing there. Ryan had somehow captured Carrie and was facing them. The next day, Sarah invited Ryan to supper at their house, which confused Elissa because her mother had previously objected. Sarah asked strange inquiries while drinking too much wine during the dinner. Ryan thanked Elissa for being the first person to invite him out since the killings as he walked out of the room to get dessert. With a start, Sarah told Ryan and Elissa not to be alone anywhere, at her house or, if she wasn't around, in his. Sarah enforced this regulation because she was worried about her daughter, a high school student, and Ryan, a college student. Ryan obliged, but his quick exit infuriated Elissa over her mother's impolite conduct. Sarah met with Officer Bill the following day and told him what she had done the night before. She used Elissa's wish to keep her daughter from making the same mistakes she had made as a teenager as justification for her restrictions. Elissa continued to feel resentment towards her mother because she thought she was still treating her like a child. Later, Elissa ran into Ryan and apologized on behalf of her mother. She asked for a ride home with Jillian at her side, but Jillian seemed nervous around Ryan. Ryan reaffirmed his pledge to Sarah and reminded Elissa that they must not be alone after dropping Jillian off. Elissa, however, disregarded her mother's worries, telling Ryan that she had activated call forwarding by connecting her cell phone to the house phone. Her mother called her later to let her know that she was working the night shift. Later on that evening, Elissa and Ryan had a sexual encounter on the couch, which Carrie unintentionally caught on camera. After escaping the basement, the girl made an attempt to run away. Ryan saw what she was doing and warned Elissa to get out of the house. Carrie was now walking through the woods and he was after her. Ryan caught Carrie before she could go to a couple in a car nearby. Ryan tried to calm her down, but Carrie kept making noise that would have alerted the pair, so he had to hold on tighter. She tragically died by strangulation as a result of this inadvertent action. Ryan, overcome with grief, took her body and disposed of it. After that, he came to a cafe where Peggy Jones, a student waiter, gave him a piece of cake and consolation. He apologized to Elissa later for what had happened the night before and said he hoped to see her again. Elissa took the chance to ask him to the school's band competition. The other boys, including Tyler, teased and mocked Ryan when he first arrived, treating him like an outsider. But Ryan didn't seem to mind. Ryan ran into Elissa, but before they could get to know each other, a boy told him that the other boys had tried to damage his car. Ryan stepped in to stop the beating, but he had to defend himself because he was outnumbered. He grabbed Tyler's leg and broke it, then threw him to the ground, stepping on the broken part of his body. Ryan was so scared of what he was doing that he had to run when the other boys went after his house. Elissa saw this and quickly drove Ryan's car to his house to save it. Elissa got there just in time to put out the lad's attempt to set fire to the house before any serious damage was done. Her mother then called to let her know that Tyler had been admitted to the hospital. Elissa clarified that Ryan had defended himself against 6 attackers. Elissa became irritated and ended the call, insisting that she was already at her house, despite Sarah's insistence that she go back home. When she hung up, she found in Ryan's garbage a strange package and a box of tampons. Tyler's parents, meantime, demanded that Ryan be taken into custody. However, Officer Bill turned down their requests, saying he would only act following a comprehensive investigation. Bill comforted Sarah when she started to worry about her daughter and then went to see how Ryan and Elissa were doing. Elissa discovered that the mysterious noises coming from the basement were actually the washing machine. But as she was leaving, she saw a secret entrance under the carpet and made the decision to look inside. When she went inside the room at the end of the hallway, Ryan was waiting for her. He grabbed her and told her to wait upstairs. Ryan called the girl Carrie Ann, and she identified herself as such. One of Carrie Ann's eyes was not blue when a sedative was given and she was strapped to the bed. Elissa went back to the kitchen and, sure enough, there was a pair of blue contact lenses in the weird box, confirming her suspicions. She also discovered Peggy Jones's pocketbook, which proved the girl in the cellar was the waitress who had consoled Ryan. Elissa was startled to see Ryan there and felt obliged to swear to keep this information private. But before she could get away, Ryan shoved her down hard, knocking her phone off balance. When Elissa woke up, she was shackled to a chair in the basement, having been kidnapped. Ryan revealed that the prior girl was also a victim who tried to flee from him when he revealed that Carrie Ann had died in the swing set disaster. Elissa asked him who killed his parents after learning this information, but he said nothing. Ryan claimed that he still needed someone to play Carrie Ann even after his sister passed away. As a result, he abducted other girls and tried to turn them into his sisters, Elissa becoming the next Carrie Ann. As all was going on, Sarah attempted to get in touch with Elissa, but her calls went unanswered, which made her anxious and prompted her to call Bill to look into Ryan's house. Going back to Carrie Ann's room, Ryan was getting ready to turn Elissa into his sister. He acknowledged that he was to blame for Carrie Ann's passing and that his parents had punished him for it, but he had stepped in to stop more damage. When Bill got to Ryan's residence, he questioned him about the altercation with Tyler and asked where Elissa had gone. Ryan said Elissa wasn't there right now, but she might be at the Battle of the Bands. Bill tried to phone Sarah's house before leaving Ryan's place, but he was shocked to hear Ryan's ringtone instead. As a result, Ryan had to defend himself by taking a knife and turning out the lights, which made Bill go after him. Elissa was able to release her legs, but she needed to use a hot lamp to free her arms. Ryan shoved Bill, sending him flying down the steps as he was about to go into the basement. Ryan angrily attacked Bill, saying he could have stopped the whole thing. It was discovered that Bill had participated in hiding Carrie Ann's death and had seen her demise as well as her parents' addiction. Bill's plea for protection infuriated Ryan, who then fatally stabbed him. After Bill was killed, Ryan went up to Elissa, who attacked him, locked him inside, and then tried to flee. Elissa blocked the basement door with the washing machine, but the door was locked, so she was unable to get out. Elissa was horrified to see Bill's corpse and tried to flee through the garage, but the doors were locked as well. Ryan came around and got her again as she got into the car. Sarah knocked on Ryan's door when she got to his residence. Sarah asked Ryan where Elissa had disappeared to, but he said she wasn't there. Elissa broke through the glass of the garage door and escaped the car trunk at the same time, telling her mother where she was. Ryan stepped in and gave Sarah a knife to the abdomen. After Elissa made her way to the basement, Ryan realized she was there and started looking for her. He told her how much he loved her but insisted that someone play Carrie Ann. Elissa took off running and grabbed Bill's rifle. Ryan ducked behind cover and turned out the lights, but Elissa shot him several times, sending him sprawling to the ground. She went to his body to get his keys when she restored the electricity, but he suddenly came back too. Luckily, Sarah came over and used her hammer to land the final blow, which knocked him out. Eventually, the mother and daughter left the property, intending to head out of town the next day. The story closes with Ryan thinking back on his history while he is confined to a prison. His mother mistreated him physically and treated him like Carrie Ann because she was angry with him for being Ryan. This information clarifies Ryan's spiral into mental illness and his eventual killing of his parents while posing as Carrie Ann. Our summary of House at the End of the Street, 2012, is now complete. I appreciate your time and consideration. We hope you'll continue to participate in our upcoming videos.